Good morning, grade 9. Good morning, class. And today we are taking social. Okay. Today we are taking social lesson 5 of unit number 6. And, and it's page number 139. Page number 139, lesson number 6, unit number 6, sorry, lesson number 5, the last lesson of the unit, which is alternative energy. Here we have previously, as we discussed about the topics of the balance of different ecosystems and the importance of biodiversity, the evolution of human relationship with environment, and how they moved from harmony stage to overexploitation phase. So the growing phenomena of pollution in its various forms, the climate change, its causes and consequences, and then discussing the phenomena of desertification and a threat to large areas of the world. We first discussed about we discussed about the changes in the ecosystems, the climatic changes, and the kinds of pollutions that we have. Now we noticed that in each of these themes that we have studied previously, population growth, increasing demand for goods and services, expansion of the industry and transportation were all the main reasons for the increasing demand for energy. Thus, the emergence of these problems. So we see that most of the problems came from the expansion of um, industries and factories. So while thinking of the increasing exploitation of natural resources, solutions emerge, but differently. The idea lies in exploiting the natural resources for production for clean energy, and therefore, so actually the idea of this lesson is that how can we um, decrease or diminish the amount of pollution that is being made or the waste of materials that is going on due to the production in those factories and industries. That's the main idea. How can we, and that's mainly because of the fuel that they use. So how can we reduce that amount of pollution in the environment by using alternative ways of obtaining energy? Okay, so here the title says it. The title tells you everything. Alternative energy is what other ways are there present in this world that can be used instead of using fuel. Like alternative energy is a concept that comprehends all energy sources which do not consume fossil fuel and thus do not have and thus do have no or limited carbon dioxide emissions. For example, some of this type of energy are the following. Some of the energy that we can replace or that we can use and an alternative source um, instead of fossil fuel are wind energy, number one, number two, hydropower, number three, solar energy, and number four, waste to energy. Now, different countries have different ideas of using or of generating energy. So first of all, I'm going to discuss with you the wind energy. Now, it is a very old way of using energy. Humans' use of wind energy is not new. In the past, they used the wind to move the ships and boats in seas and rivers. And we find the roots of this phenomenon among the ancient Egyptians who excelled in this area in the ship's movement in the Nile River. And this usage is still on hand now. So the use of wind energy is not new. It it dates back to ancient Egypt. So, uh, as you can see in the picture, this energy, wind was used to move or um, to move ships in the seas, in big oceans and seas, to propel it forward. Okay, so that's how wind energy was used even in the ancient times. Humans took advantage of this energy in different time periods where they developed sailing ships to suit sailing in big seas and large oceans. Until the mid 19th century, they traveled through seas and oceans, developed their trade, and discovered the New World, relying on wind power in moving the sailing ships. So, wind has a power. Now, not just for propelling or moving things ahead, it also has power to generate electricity through the use of windmills. The human use of wind power did not stop at sailing ships in the rivers and seas only. It reached the development of machines that could serve them and that were powered by air. The best example of this is the invention of windmills, as you can see in the picture. These mills, which spread to include large parts of the world, were used to move water pumps. Then it was used in Europe in the early 14th century to grind grains and transport water to reclaim lands. In fact, the traditional image of windmills was related to Netherlands, and how it works, you can study, like you can research about it, how windmills used to work, and they are still in use. They are still in function. Just, however, their shape has been changed, their look has been changed. They have been advanced. Now they are made in an advanced manner, as you can see. Wind energy was one of the most important sources that humans used throughout the history in various purposes such as agriculture, industry, and transport. However, with the end of the 19th century, humans start thinking in the use of wind energy to generate electricity, and if the talk at the present time for wind energy use, the hint or glimpse often means that the use of this energy in electricity generation, which can then be used in a variety of purposes by wind turbines. The process of wind energy use continued despite the decline in light of in electric energy use, despite the need for sophisticated technology, more money, and many suitable natural conditions. Getting power via wind is one of the solutions to mankind to face the dangers of pollution on the one hand and face the threat of running out of fossil fuel sources. So what would we do if we do not have enough resources for fossil fuel or we run out of it? So because as we know that today in the present day 90% of the work around the world depends on the energy, depends on electricity. Most of the things around us are run on electricity. So what would happen if there would be no electricity due to, let's see, running out of the fossil fuel or something? So it has always been a helpful. It has always been very helpful in such conditions. So it can be helpful. You don't have to worry about the fossil fuel, uh, fossil fuel sources, and it will also save the environment from pollution. Now, next is hydropower. Hydropower is a term that refers to now again electricity is generated but not by wind. We studied about how it is created by wind, but now it's how it is created by using water. Now, not just water, it is made by moving or flowing water, by falling water through its movement in the water plant. Hydropower is a term that refers to electricity generated from hydropower by using the power of falling or flowing water through using water movement in the water pump. The movement of the waves tidal movements, or even by building dams and reservoirs to do so. So here is a picture for your understanding. Okay, so this wheel kind of thing that you can see here on the left side, on the right side of the slide is the hydropower that generates electricity through running water. The use of hydroelectric energy traces back to ancient times to grind flour and do other tasks. In 1878, the first system, so it is also not very new, it is a very old way of generating electricity. The first system of hydroelectric power in the world was developed in England by William George Armstrong. With the beginning of the 20th century, the growing development began in the production of this type of energy through many small hydroelectric power plants by commercial companies in Europe had been established. By 1920, 40% of the electricity produced in the United States was of a hydroelectric power. If the right conditions are on hand, the hydroelectric power's cost is relatively low, which makes it a competitive source of electricity. And yet again, you don't have to worry about the pollution that is coming out of it, or you don't have to worry about running out of the fossil fuel sources. So that's how hydropower can also be used as a source of energy, generating energy, electricity. Now, the next thing is solar energy. Sun is the main source of energy in the planet, and it is durable, renewable, and clean source. Nothing is wasted. Okay, and nothing is created no pollution is created out of it. So, indeed, generating power of solar energy is considered the most important and proposed solution to solve energy and pollution problems in the world. And it is not an ancient one, it is a very advanced, modern way of using energy, of generating energy. A lot of people are now using solar plates. Now it has become very economical these days to use solar plates to generate electricity in people's homes. First, it was used only on the upper level, but it became very common, and now almost everyone is able to use solar energy. Then we have waste to energy. How can we change waste? Now this is mainly about the recycling processes. How can we use waste for purposeful output, for purposeful outcome? It means the treatment of waste to generate energy in any form, often electrical energy or thermal energy. A normal human would put the garbage bag outside their homes, and it is the end of the story. But then the government's role starts through collecting the garbage from the residential neighborhoods and assembling them in special sites designed for that purpose. Now, after that, they began separating and recycling or converting them to compost, as happens in most European countries. And the remains of this operation are the maximum road to the energy extraction. So this was the entire lesson about alternative energies. As you can see, number one is wind, number two is hydropower, number three is solar energy, and number four is waste to energy. Now I'll move on to the book, the workbook. Here is the workbook, page number 72. Define the following terms. Hydropower. It is a term that refers to electricity generated by using the falling or flowing water power. Solar energy, generating power using sun as the main source.
Miss, these are the answers.
These are the answers. The question, and you can just write them down now, or you can write them down later. I think if you write them down now, there's no issue because we have time.
Yeah, okay, I'm writing them. I'm done.
Okay. So next is, what are the main reasons for the increasing demand for energy sources? There are two reasons: expansion of the industries and transportation.
Done.
Also, question number three, what are the reasons of the use of alternative energy? Number one, the problem of pollution and its consequences. Number two, the problem of access to energy for the continuation of production. We're done with both.
Yes.
So question number four is cancelled. Also question number six is cancelled. Question number five says, how can we get water energy? We can get energy by hydropower, by, I'm sorry, just write from instead of by here. We can get energy from hydropower by using the power of falling or flowing water. Okay, so the first by, please replace it with from.
Done.
Okay, so that's it. I will end the meeting now.